Lesson 81 is about angle measurements. We'll be applying some of what we learned in Lesson 75 about measuring turns, and also in Lesson 78 about classifying triangles to help us understand angle measurements. To start with, let's think about a right angle, because we've already talked about that being a 90-degree angle. If you did a quarter of a turn, remember, from there to there, a quarter of a turn, that's the same thing as 90 degrees. Okay, now that's a very common angle to talk about as a right angle, so knowing that that is also a 90-degree angle, that's a good thing to know. Now think about it. If we split this just right down the middle, made two symmetrical angles basically, what would we have? We would have two 45-degree angles, right? If we split a 90-degree angle into two pieces, there's nothing else that we could have besides two 45-degree angles. So there's a 45-degree angle. We can just put a 45-degree symbol on the inside to show that that's a 45-degree angle, half of a 90-degree angle. Now think about this. If we have two angles drawn back to back, two right angles drawn back to back, we would have a 180-degree angle, right? We could call that 90 and 90. That's 180 degrees. That's a 180-degree angle. And we could even just remove this middle line, because an angle just has two sides that have a common endpoint, two rays or line segments that have a common endpoint. So now that's also called a straight angle. A 180-degree angle is also called a straight angle. So we have a 45, 90, 180, which is considered a straight angle. Let's think about one more angle. Let's use our 90-degree angle to start with again. Let's stick two 90 degrees back to back, and then let's split the one on the left right down the middle. Now, erase this line segment right here, and then we can erase this one. Well, actually, just think about it. We have a 45 right here and a 90 right there. If we erase this one so that we just have two line segments intersecting, which is how angles are defined, we have a 135-degree angle now. So let's just go ahead and erase those two numbers and put 135 degrees right there. We have a 45, a 90, a straight, and a 135-degree angle. Get familiar with what these different angles look like. 45 is just half of a 90-degree angle. A straight angle is two 90-degree angles stuck back to back. 135 is a 90 plus a 45. Those are just some common angles that are used in measurement. In geometry, geometry is the study of shapes, and angles are shapes. Now, in this lesson, there's an activity on making an angle measurement tool from a 3x5 piece of paper. Why don't you pause the CD and go ahead and make that piece of paper like they show you how to do, and that will help you with some of the problems you'll have in your problem sets. Use your angle measurement tool to estimate the measure of those two angles that I've drawn there, angle A and angle B. Now when you estimate them, that means they're not going to be exactly a 45, 90, a 180, or a 135. They'll be close to one of those. You can use those angle measurement tools. The 45, 90, 180, and 135 aren't the only angles that there are. You can have anything from 0 to 360 and on up. Remember when we did measuring turns, we had talked about 720. We talked about 1080-degree angles. The main ones that we're concerned with right now are between 0 and 180. Those are the ones that you use the most. So anything between 0 and 180 degrees. Estimate A and B. Now on A, hopefully you could tell that's a little bit greater than a right angle. And so it's going to be greater than 90 degrees. From now on, if there's not a box on the corner, then don't assume that that angle is a right angle. There's no box on the corner there, so that's not a right angle. And it's actually right about 100 degrees. So if you set around 100 degrees for that, if you're within 5 degrees of that number right there, then that's good. On B, that is about a 40 degree angle. So again, if you were within 5 degrees of that number right there, then you made a good estimate of that angle measure. Now, you don't have to make that angle measurement tool, but it would be a very useful thing for you as you do your problem sets. And see, that's a very rough sketch of a clock. What angle is being formed between the minute hand and the hour hand in that example? That'd be a 180 degree angle. You could have also just said that's a straight angle. Either way, if you said 180 degrees, that's correct. If you said it was a straight angle that's being formed between those two hands on the clock, then that's fine as well. Memorize these different angles. Get familiar with the number and the shape of the angle that corresponds with that number, 45, 90, 135, and 180. Okay, well that's all for lesson 81.